Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the graduation ceremony for the graduates of the Division of Asian and International Studies. In a few minutes, the graduation ceremony will commence. First, the procession of graduates will enter. Please remain seated while this happens. Next will follow the staff procession. You should continue to stay seated while they come in. After a brief break, the university fanfares, which will be played on the organ, will signal the entry of the dais party. I will signal to you with an action such as this to rise and remain standing until the dais party is seated. So please do not stand until I ask you to do so. Once again, the ceremony will commence shortly.
Vice-Chancellor, Mrs. Webb, Mr. Hugh Dunn, our guest speaker today, and Mrs. Dunn, Founder-Chancellor, Sir Theodore Bray, former long-time Council member, Sir Robert Mathers, all our other honoured guests, Council members, members of the university community, and particularly our graduates. It is customary for the university and its guests to gather as a body for the purpose of conferring academic awards on its graduates. On behalf of the Council of Griffith University, I have pleasure in welcoming you all to this graduation ceremony. On these occasions, we like to dwell on some of the important activities of the university, both in the past and the present. Since teaching began in 1975, Griffith's story has been one of innovation and growth. One of the great strengths of Griffith is that it does not follow, it leads. It does not copy, it initiates. Reference is often made to the two unique schools, Modern Asian Studies and Australian Environmental Studies, which were part of Griffith from day one. It is typical of Griffith's monitoring and development methods that the two original schools are now parts of the more diversified divisions of Asian and International Studies and the Environmental Sciences, respectively. Griffith's growth has been remarkable. In the last 5 years, the student population in the university has trebled. We now have close to 15,000 students over 6 different campuses. Our numbers have risen as other educational institutions have joined us. It must be noted that these other institutions were not forced to amalgamate with us. True, under the unified national system, they had to combine with a larger institution, and they chose to come to Griffith. We welcomed them with respect and with pride. We have always believed it important that the university should reach out into the community and that the people out there should be drawn into our activities wherever possible. We have a community of conscience, which explains why we have so enthusiastically embarked upon the new area of justice administration. In parallel with the Queensland University of Technology, we are providing tertiary training for police recruits. At the end of last year, a total of 400 recruits graduated from QUT and Griffith at an impressive joint ceremony. They are the first group of police recruits who in this state have undertaken part of their organised training within a university. The period 1991-1992 has been a significant one for Griffith University. It has seen the completion and opening by the Governor-General, Mr. Hayden, of the Stage 2 buildings at the Gold Coast University College of Griffith University. We have had the first graduation from the Queensland Conservatorium of Music since it became part of Griffith. The occasion was even more significant since the graduation ceremony and the concert which preceded it was attended by the Chancellor of Leeds University and patron of the Conservatorium, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Kent, who presented the testamers and received from our Chancellor the honorary degree of Doctor of the University. We have seen the completion of 2 fine and much-needed buildings on our Nathan campus. The new University Centre building, funded at a total of some $9 million by the federal government, was opened officially by the Duchess of Kent on March the 4th. The other building is the Information Services Centre, constructed at a cost of more than 8 million, I think nearly 9 million, and it will be opened soon. We were, of course, delighted to welcome in January this year the Queensland College of Art as a college of Griffith University. We also welcomed the affiliation of the Brisbane College of Theology with Griffith, and we had for the first time held on the Mount Gravatt campus a service to mark the commencement of the academic year. The inspiring homily at this ecumenical service was given by Archbishop John Bathersby. Another first was the Parliament House luncheon, addressed by the Premier, Mr. Wayne Goss, to recognise publicly winners of the Griffith University Excellence Awards. As chairman of Griffith's Library Committee, I am proud to tell you of the development of what is believed to be the world's first personal computer-based Chinese, Japanese, Korean vernacular script library system. This system, which is being developed as a joint project between Griffith and the University of Queensland, is the brainchild of Griffith's Bruce Edwards in the Division of Information Services and Eric Chappell of the Division of Education. It is attracting interest from institutions throughout Australia, including the National Library. The system will enable users with a knowledge of East Asian scripts to access the combined 20,000-volume Asian languages collection held in both institutions using Chinese, Japanese, or Korean characters. And I must just mention that it's very difficult to keep up with the advances that Griffith is making. And it wasn't until I read the Courier Mail this morning, the half page that's devoted to higher education, that I saw this article which says, Griffith academic puts Asian data on the map. And apparently it's all due to Dr. Larry Crispin. I'm not going to give you any details of it now. I'm sure you'll want to go and read it when you get home. The official opening of the Griffith University Law School by the Governor, Sir Walter Campbell, marked the beginning of another significant chapter in the history of this university. Former Governor-General and High Court Judge Sir Ninian Stephen said in his keynote speech at the opening that looking at Griffith's law school curriculum, he glimpsed a whole new landscape of law teaching inspired by a clearly articulated philosophy. Moreover, he said, and I quote, "For me, the law school's curriculum is, in a sense, a second revolution in law teaching, the first being that reappraisal of needs and requirements and consequent changes in curricula and staffing that overtook the teaching of law in the 1950s and 60s. I now turn to the division from which our graduates today have come, the Division of Asian and International Studies. In my view, it is impossible to overestimate the importance of this division. But don't take my word for it. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade in Canberra has stated, and I quote, "As Australia moves into the 21st century, its economic, political and cultural agenda is focusing more sharply upon Asia, a region with tremendous potential for economic growth in the immediate and long-term future. The success of Australia's participation in this regional growth will be dependent largely upon the quality of people involved in political, business and cultural relations with their Asian counterparts. For this reason, the public and private sectors in Australia will have an ever-increasing need for high-achieving, Asia-literate graduates to fill these demanding and challenging career positions well into the 21st century." A joint statement by the Business Council of Australia, Confederation of Australian Industry, Australian Tourism Industry Association and Qantas says in part, and I quote, "Expanding commercial links with Asia is fundamental to our national interests, but not enough Australians are equipped for the task. Asian language skills and knowledge are urgently required in Australian business, industry and the wider community. And the Governor-General, Mr. Hayden, has said, "The future of Australia is inevitably bound to that of our own Asian and Pacific region. Nearly 50% of Australia's overseas trade is now with countries of the Asia-Pacific region. Griffith University already has the largest Asian studies unit of any tertiary institution in the country. It is one of those things that so commends this campus to me." Unquote. In this context, we are particularly delighted to see among the graduates today 70 graduates from the first cohort from the International Business Relations Program. It should be mentioned that Griffith's Key Centre for Asian Languages and Studies has been awarded a further 3 years federal funding. Established in 1988, the Centre's main project to date has been the ABC television series on Chinese language, The Dragon's Tongue, which was televised last year. A vital adjunct to the division's dedication to intercultural exchange has been the student exchange program, including China, Indonesia, and Japan. This year, 4 of our students are taking part in our inaugural exchange program with the Korean University in Seoul. We have 112 Modern Asian Studies graduates today, including for the first time a graduate with a Korean concentration. From the 1989 joint program with QUT, Law with Japanese, 11 students from the original intake of 17 have completed the arts component of the degree and will receive their BA degrees. 1 student has also completed law and will graduate at QUT as well. On behalf of the Council, and indeed the university community, I congratulate you, our graduates, on your achievements and your families on the support they have given you in this very important period of your lives. We extend our warmest good wishes for your future. We will remember you. We hope you will remember Griffith always. I now call on the Dean of the Division of Asian and International Studies to present the graduates from the Division of Asian and International Studies who have chosen to receive their awards at this ceremony.
Acting Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts taken in the School of Modern Asian Studies. Sarah Alfredson, Helen Alsop, Susan Austin, Beth Bales, Marina Becker, Kimberly Bell, Julie Bednow, Catherine Bednell, Sandra Baglevu, David Brothers, Susan Buck, Jennifer Cameron, Sarah Cameron, Susan Carriage, Christopher Carter, Mary Casey, Catherine Childs, Patina Clement, Marcel Cole, Owen Connolly, Gary Cornwell, Tracy Cox, Francis Dwyer, Karen Evans, Heidi Franca, Henry Greenhill, Faye Hamilton, Michael Hansen, Russell Harris, Beth Hart, Jeffrey Haggerty, Philippa Hammond. Richard Henderson. Megan Holmes. Barbara Hodgson. Belinda Howell. Sharon Humphreys. Kirsten Inch. Shamin Islam. Georgina Jones. Robin Jones. Didi Callow. Adam Kent. Jean An Kim. Ruth Lang. Heather Latta. Heather Lau. Priscilla Lavery. Patricia Little. Alison Lullum. Monica Mijeska. John Monders. Danielle Martin. Jan McSwan. Christopher Meakin. Robin Middleton. Jacqueline Moe. Deborah Nichol. Liam O'Reilly. Michelle Flom. Christy Powell. Nicole Pretty. Alice Quack. Stephen Ratcliffe. Tane Roberts. Kirili Rowland. Paul Sariban. Donald Simons. Georgina Smith. Lindo Spies. Andrew Stapleton. Mary Sullivan. William Sullivan. Daniel Toohey. Megan Farnham. Nicole Ward. Adam Welch. Brett Williams. Dion Windmill. Jay Woo Yim. Acting Chancellor, the school medal may be awarded annually to the graduates from each school with the highest academic achievement in a bachelor's degree program. The medal is not awarded if there is no candidate of sufficient merit. Acting Chancellor, I'm pleased to present to you the graduate who has been granted the 1991 School of Modern Asian Studies Medal, Kay Benz. Acting Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of International Business, taken in the School of International Business Relations. Alan Atwell. Jody Ayres. Annabelle Baker. Michelle Barker. Fiona Berry. Duncan Blakely. Jennifer Blanche. Jennifer Blees. Alison Burasa. Cheryl Bright. Angus Cameron. Noel Cheeseman. Han Zhao. Damien Zhong. Karen Cervantes. Kate Dello. Ian Dennis. Jamima Johati. Dan Eastman. Rose Fakwa. Dean Fishburne, Billy Fritz, Rosemary Gould, Catherine Graham, Kylie Hargraves, Paul Hodgson, Kylie Hogan, Russell Holland, Lucia Japp, Leonard Kelso, Thomas Coates, Meredith Lovell, Sonia Lumen, Mark Macklin, Roy McGee, Georgie Miller, Anita Moreno, Michael Parker, Tanya Parker, Andrew Pitcher, Graham Potter, Katrina Robertson, Jason Schmidt, Susan Smith, Carmen Spears, Marie Sullivan, Brett Thompson, Peter Trillo. John Van der Poel. Julie Vanderberg. Olga Velprak. Michelle Wheeler. Craig White. David White. Celia Williamson. Joanne Wilson. Acting Chancellor, the school medal may be awarded annually to the graduates from each school with the highest academic achievement in a bachelor's degree program. The medal is not awarded if there is no candidate of sufficient merit. Acting Chancellor, I'm pleased to present to you the graduate who has been granted the 1991 School of International Business Relations Medal, Lucia Jepp. Acting Chancellor, I present to you a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Arts with first-class honors taken in the Division of Asian and International Studies, Gary Sickley. Acting Chancellor, I present to you a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Arts with second-class honors, Division A, taken in the Division of Asian and International Studies, Graham Lang. Acting Chancellor, the University Medal may be awarded to a graduate who has completed the requirements for both a bachelor's degree of the university and a degree with honors in recognition of academic excellence. Such an award is a rare honor and is not awarded in any year in which there is no candidate of sufficient merit. Acting Chancellor, I'm pleased to present to you a graduate of the Division of Asian and International Studies who has been granted a 1991 University Medal, Gary Sickley. Acting Chancellor, I ask that the 1991 University Medal be awarded in absentia to a graduate of the Division of Asian and International Studies, Warwick Powell. Acting Chancellor, all the graduates of coursework programs of the Division of Asian and International Studies who are present today have had their awards conferred upon them.
I will now receive a candidate for the award of Doctor of Philosophy. I call upon the chairperson of the Academic Committee to present this candidate.
Madam Acting Chancellor, the degree of Doctor of Philosophy is awarded to a candidate who has successfully completed a prescribed program of study, principally of research. A thesis embodying the outcome of research is the principal basis of examination as to whether a candidate has satisfied the requirement for the degree. The degree is only awarded if the examiners are satisfied that the thesis makes a significant and original contribution to knowledge and to understanding of the field of knowledge in which it is concerned. Today, the University is proud to honour one of its Doctor of Philosophy graduates who has satisfied these rigorous criteria for award of the degree. Madam Acting Chancellor, I have much pleasure in presenting to you a graduate of the Division of Asian and International Studies, Geoffrey Willems, for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Madam Acting Chancellor, the only candidate for the award of Doctor of Philosophy who is present today has had his award presented to him.
With the authority of the Council, I shall now confer the degree of Doctor of the University. I call upon the Vice-Chancellor to make this presentation.
Acting Chancellor, Hugh Alexander Dunn was born in Rockhampton in 1923 and was educated at the Brisbane Boys College. After completing an arts degree at the University of Queensland and winning a Queensland Rhodes Scholarship in 1949, he graduated from Oxford University with a Bachelor of Arts in 1952. After initially working as a reporter for the Courier Mail in 1953, he joined the Department of Foreign Affairs, where he became a distinguished diplomat. In a long and celebrated career spanning 30 years, he has travelled to most countries in the world and has filled a number of important diplomatic posts, including Ambassador to Taiwan from 1969 to 1972, Ambassador to Argentina from 1973 to 1976, High Commissioner to Kenya, Uganda and Seychelles, an ambassador to Ethiopia from 1978 to 1980, an ambassador to the People's Republic of China from 1980 to 1984. He has also served in Saigon, Washington, Tokyo, Peru and Paraguay. Mr. Dunn's outstanding contributions in the field of international relations and in the development of Australian relations with China were recognised in 1985 when he was made an Officer of the Order of Australia. In 1984, Griffith was privileged to welcome Hugh Dunn when he joined the then School of Modern Asian Studies as visiting professor. Professor Dunn's association with the university in this capacity and subsequently as honorary professor continued until 1991, and I'm happy to say has been renewed in 1992. During this period, he edited the quarterly magazine on Sino-Australian relations called Action China, publication of the Australia-China Council. Funding from that council enabled the university to employ editorial and other staff to assist Hugh Dunn in the preparation of this publication. Hugh Dunn was responsible for organising two very successful conferences at the university: the 1985 Conference on Sino-Australian Relations and the 1987 Conference on Chinese Language Teaching, the proceedings of which were co-edited by Hugh Dunn for publication by the university's Centre for the Study of Australian-Asian Relations. 3 other works written by him during this time also published by CSER: the shaping of a sinologue of sorts, secondly, Conversations about Tibet, and Conversations about Taiwan. He was instrumental in arranging an exchange agreement between the Shanghai Academy of Social Sciences and the university in 1990. The university has also benefited indirectly from Hugh Dunn's membership during this time of a number of important government advisory bodies. He was a member of the Australia-China Council and the Queensland-China Council, chairman of the Brisbane-China Committee, an invited member of the executive of the Queensland branch of the Australia-China Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and president of the Queensland branch of the Australian Institute of International Affairs. Hugh Dunn has undoubtedly made a profound contribution to the enhancement of this university's reputation as the leading Australian university for the study of Asia and Australian-Asia relations. It is especially fitting that the Council of Griffith University should honour Hugh Dunn in recognition of his distinguished contributions to Australia generally and to this university in particular. Acting Chancellor, it is with great pleasure that I present to you Hugh Alexander Dunn AO for admission to the degree of Doctor of the University.
I now call upon Mr. Hugh Alexander Dunn, Officer of the Order of Australia, Doctor of the University, to deliver the occasional address.
Acting Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Mr. Dean, staff and students, graduates, friends of Griffith University. Thank you for the honour you've done me and for the generous things said in the citation. I think it's very good that on occasions such as this, even very modern institutions like Griffith University adhere to the courteous, old-fashioned custom of mentioning only achievements and not shortcomings. Very few things in life have pleased me more than the offer of this doctorate. I was, in fact, so pleased that I forgot my manners. I ignored the proper classical Chinese ritual when offered a high appointment. One should bow twice and modestly decline, then accept the third offer. But since I wasn't sure that Griffith would know and follow that ritual, I took no chances and accepted by return mail. One subtle reason for your making the offer was no doubt to correct an anomaly. Most professors become doctors first, but some years ago the university honoured me with an honorary professorship. Somebody must have noticed that I should also be a doctor so as to be properly qualified, and hence, in part, this ceremony. Of course, doing things in what seems to be, to some, the reverse order is by no means unnatural. When I began to read classical Chinese, the text ran from top to bottom and from right to left, and that quickly seemed completely normal. One early lesson that I learnt from Asian studies was that the Western way of doing things was not immutably and eternally correct. That lesson can and should be learnt in many disciplines as we seek to overcome the stubborn vestiges of post-colonial arrogance. The second lesson was probably about time. It's easy to be overawed by Asian civilizations which have evolved over millennia. Our 200 years of westernized history is only a blink of an eyelid in comparison. And it certainly is important for us to see things in temporal perspective, to accept the need for patience and for long-sustained and disciplined effort, and also the inevitability of periodic setbacks. But of course, in the light of infinite time, as the Chinese philosophers would say, millennia and centuries are much the same, and we have many reasons to be proud of what Australia has achieved. Despite our mistakes in dealing with a land new to Europeans and its people, mistakes which we must try to rectify to the degree possible today in equity and common sense, we have overcome many challenges in peace and war. Over the years, many migrants from virtually every country in the world have come here seeking political stability, economic prosperity, impartial justice, democracy, and respect for human rights. We've done a great deal in these regards. There are some areas which still need greater and long-term attention. We have worked hard, and we have, of course, been and still are a lucky country. But from now on, we're going to have to work much harder and to make our own luck. To take one example, we have been lucky to have English, at present a virtually universal language, as our only official tongue. I spent some time in Canada and I saw the problems that arise when you have more than one official tongue. English is a strong unifying factor, and we should try to ensure that all who live here can use it fluently. And that, incidentally, includes improving the spelling, grammar, and punctuation of native English speakers. There's no contradiction between saying that and saying that we must do more to ensure that we promote Asian skills and knowledge and respect of cultures in Australia and abroad. I regret to say the challenges we have faced until recently, and there have been many of them, while often major, have been comparatively straightforward and susceptible to definition. To define problems is the first step towards solution. One current difficulty we face, I think, is that the challenges we have to meet today are more diffuse, more complicated, and more interrelated both domestically and internationally than in the past. Therefore, they're harder to define in terms which can lead to practical solutions. Yet we must define them if we're to regain material prosperity and also to develop greater intellectual prosperity, which is even more important. One and only one of the many challenges we face is obviously that of fully accepting, emotionally as well as rationally, that Australia is not one of the British Isles which has unfortunately drifted away to the other side of the world. Just over 50 years ago, we learnt the hard way that as a part of the Asia-Pacific region, we shall forever be closely and quickly involved in the political, economic, and strategic affairs of our region. Being an island, and that's luck again, we may at times, and if we wish, be able to distance ourselves to some degree from those affairs. But we will always need to understand them and their underlying causes, and to try to take advantage of or to avoid their consequences. The graduates here and their predecessors prove that Griffith University has already played a notable part in preparing Australians and particularly Queenslanders to meet this challenge. The vision of Griffith's founders, and in particular of that most remarkable man, the first Chancellor, Sir Theodore Bray, and the work of early academics and administrators laid very good foundations. Much has been done since then, and I'm sure Griffith will play its full part in the much that remains to be done. There has, in fact, already been encouraging progress in Asian studies in Queensland, and the Acting Chancellor referred to the progress that is being made in many areas. My own first-hand perspective of time of what has been achieved dates intermittently, since I wasn't in Queensland all the time, from the end of the Second World War, and it's clear to me that much of the initial inertia about Asian studies has been overcome and that the pace is now quickening. World War II produced or brought to light some highly competent translators and interpreters of Japanese for the armed services, and some of them were in the unit I was in. But few of them, I think, found use for their skills immediately thereafter in academia or business. Australia had other concerns, particularly with post-war reconstruction and the absorption of many migrants, almost all of them from Europe. We couldn't shut Asia from our minds, but involvement in wars in Korea, Malaysia, Vietnam, the China-Taiwan problem, and so on, while obviously calling for Asia knowledge and skills, led some to believe that we might be wise to avoid excessive involvement there. And our ethnic ties with Europe were, of course, very strong. Yet when Japan's Jimu Irai boom really got going in the late 1950s, the shape of things to come started to emerge. The commercial opportunities there and potentially elsewhere became increasingly apparent and obviously called for action. But things were still fairly slow in Queensland. It was only in 1966, 21 years after World War II ended, and even then, after some fairly bitter opposition, that Asian studies started to be taught at tertiary level at the University of Queensland. Japanese was offered from that year, Chinese from 1970, and Korean from 1990. Growth is continuing across the river. Is it across the river? Yes. The figures for 1992 indicate that some hundreds of students are undertaking Asian studies at all levels there now. And it is, as I look back, of interest, at least it's of interest to me, to recall that in 1948, the year I graduated from UQ, Asian studies were not offered there at all. In fact, the odd situation arose that I went from Queensland to England to learn Chinese. In recent years, of course, as we all know, and as the Acting Chancellor has told us, Griffith University has developed very quickly into a most major centre of Asian studies. In its first year, 1975, there were 93 full-time and 30 part-time students. Just over 400 in 1975. 580 in 1987, and well over, almost 1,100 are registered for this year, 346 in first year alone. I understand that that figure includes those taking the joint degree courses, but not those simply studying language at another campus than Nathan. That rate of growth seems likely to be at least maintained in the coming years, in large part because of the virtual revolution and the very exciting revolution that has taken place in Queensland schools and which is just beginning in earnest. This year, there are 30,950 students enrolled for Asian studies in 325 primary and 116 secondary schools. Japanese, Chinese, or Indonesian language is offered in some. And it seems likely that those numbers will grow much further, provided that the policies that have started this revolution, this greatly to be welcomed revolution, are not greatly changed. I'm told that the full impact of school leavers on the job market, to some degree on society in general, and on universities, will be felt in about 5 years. Unless they're discouraged at school or by lack of job opportunities, some of these school leavers will come on to tertiary institutions as first-year students. They will start with a considerably higher average level of language and general knowledge about Asia than now. The level for graduation will thereafter also presumably have to rise. And there will be even heavier calls on the skills and standards of staff, demands on space and on finance. And since it's axiomatic that there's never enough money, there could well be acute competition for funds between the needs of teaching and research, of bigger and better language laboratories, and of arrangements for students to hone their Asia skills through exchange programs with foreign institutions. These predictable needs are doubtlessly being planned for now at tertiary, as well as I understand they are at school level. In such planning, then remains the need to define what the purpose is. As I recall discussions before Griffith existed, when it was still essentially a gleam in Sir Theodore Bray's eye, he and others of the founders wisely saw language as a tool for communication and a key to other cultures. It said that every language you learn gives you another soul. They realized, as some of the early graduates did not, that the admittedly great effort they expended to learn a difficult language did not automatically mean that the world then owed them a living. Language needed to be combined with other skills and experience in commerce, teaching at all levels, law, science, diplomacy, engineering, or other professions. And after graduation, there was still the long ladder of success to be climbed. For some years, I feel, but I may be wrong, Griffith rather lost sight of that realistic vision, possibly because in easier times than now it was thought too hard, or it would take too long for impatient students to combine Asian studies, including language, with other disciplines. But the graduates here today are, I think, proof that Griffith is back on track, if it ever got off it, with its combined degrees in particular. Some refinement may be necessary, and I don't know enough about the new law school to speak with confidence, but one can say that while, for example, international commercial law is now a part of what might be termed global culture, some of the basic concepts of the law's role in society in general differ greatly from culture to culture. A qualification to practice law in Australia, even combined with an Asian language, does not necessarily lead to understanding some of those concepts, and the concepts are deeply embedded and will not change fundamentally. The modernization of Asia does not mean westernization. The terms are far from synonymous. As for language skills, very few Australians will or will want to reach the standards of precision and fluency required of, for example, a United Nations simultaneous interpreter. Nor would there be full-time jobs for more than a handful of them in Australia. But language is, nevertheless, a most important component of the Asian skills we need so much in so many professions. We need to be able, at the very least, to chat with our foreign colleagues about our specialized business. And also, it's very important to get to know them as people and not just people that we talk business to. They have much to tell us. It's also desirable to have enough language competence and precision is a very important thing, precision in both English and a foreign language, to follow negotiations being conducted through professional interpreters. It's necessary to notice, to pick up the omissions, the mistranslations, the distortions, which all too often need correction. If in your negotiations these things are left uncorrected, such mistakes can lead to irritating, time-consuming, and very costly misunderstandings and confusion. and of course of at least equal practical importance, some would say even more, for people doing business with Asia are the background studies. We need to know about the other worlds of history, of culture, of ethics and customs in which our foreign colleagues and partners, and sometimes our foreign opponents, live. With knowledge of such background and sensitivity to it, we're much better placed to deal with Asia in all its strength, depth and diversity. Asian studies, both of language and background, are of course also of practical value to those who will not make their living by dealing with Asia or with Asians there. They certainly enlarge our vision, but not only do that, they also vastly increase the prospects of understanding and harmony within our own multicultural society. Through such studies, new and stimulating strands will be worked into the complex web of our own evolving culture, and all of us will be enriched. There'll never be a final pattern for that culture, since if culture doesn't evolve, and this is a truism, if a culture doesn't evolve, it dies. I, for one, look to the day when Australia will be increasingly able to communicate easily and on terms of equality with our neighbours, to the day when many of the present and continuing fences of incomprehension have fallen like the Berlin Wall. While cleaving strongly to our own language and standards and evolving culture, we should work to know much more about the great events in Asian history, and even more important, about their causes. I hope, though I may not live to see it, to see many more Australians enjoying the poetry of Du Fu as much as Dante, that they will go sightseeing with Hokusai as happily as with Holbein, and that they will revel in the rhythms of ragas as well as Rigoletto. The first steps of this long 10,000 league journey have been taken, and I certainly congratulate all the things that Griffith University has done since its foundation, and I certainly congratulate today's graduates most warmly. You will live to see vast progress along that long road, and I wish you well with the tasks, and I wish you well with the very many great pleasures ahead. Thank you.
Acting Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to thank our Speaker for his address on this very important occasion for him and for the University. While Professor Dunn was speaking, I took the trouble to check for shortcomings, which he noted we omitted in the citation, and I'm happy to report that the search is fruitless. There are none now to report. Professor Dunn has brought to our university and to our Division of Asian and International Studies during his time with us through the latter part of the 80s and into the 90s great skills and wisdom as a practitioner in international relations. He has been a great asset to staff and students in the Division of Asian and International Studies, and an antidote on many occasions to any academic tendencies towards excess abstraction. We may note with great happiness that any university that acquires in any capacity the services of Professor Dunn for a time also acquire the services of Marnie Dunn, herself a diplomat and scholar in her own right, and we welcome her here this afternoon. In thanking Professor Dunn, no set of remarks will be complete without revealing his particular connections, which he hasn't mentioned and which so far I haven't mentioned, with the panda. The important point to note about Professor Dunn is that the Chinese see him as Mr. Panda in Australia. He looks after the interests of the pandas and their preservation from the Australian point of view, and I'm sure that is a very important work and widely respected in China. Now, ladies and gentlemen, would you join me again in thanking our guest speaker and our honorary doctor, a great Australian and a friend of Asia and a friend of China and a friend of Griffith. Thank you very much. Before we conclude, may I add my congratulations to those already expressed to all our graduates. May I commend to them membership of the Alumni Association, and there will be plenty of opportunities for you to make contact with the association and its officers and to join and support Griffith through the Alumni Association. And may I also invite everybody to join in refreshments at the end of our ceremony. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you all now please rise and join the members of the Conservatorium Chamber Singers in singing the traditional student song Gaudeamus Igitur, which you will find in your program. The song will be played once through in its entirety by the organ as an introduction before we begin to sing. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is now concluded. When the fanfares begin, please rise and remain standing as the dais party, the staff procession, and the graduates retire.